Hello, and welcome for the first time ever to GasLyght, GateCrash, GirlBite, a Magic the Gathering podcast for the girls, the gays, and the giant monster enjoyers. We have a little bit of episode 1 ground laying to get through. Firstly, my name's Lyght, or Indominus Lux most places on the internet. I'm a writer, video editor, and producer, and fundraising event coordinator. My pronouns are they or she, I love dinosaurs, and I hate Sol Ring.
And my name's the lovely Medusa, or just Medusa. I've played Magic since I was 12. I am a cosplayer and convention goer, and I also love dinosaurs. I happen to be very mid on Sol Ring. I think it's a fine include, and I'd probably rather play my decks with it than without it, but it doesn't exactly excite me. And my pronouns are she or they, in that order. We're a pair of queer Midwestern Magic-playing monster enthusiasts, and this is a podcast focused on the Commander format, the best place to be queer Midwestern Magic-playing and monster enthusiasts. Being queer and gushing about our favorite dinosaurs, dragons, and anything else with fangs or claws. We will be discussing our loves and criticisms of our favorite card game, as well as the company who makes it, in equal measure. We'll also be touching on various aspects of identity, gender, sexuality, and what they mean to us. And of course, we will be talking about monsters. And don't worry, those will all flow right together.
This is a good time to address that we will be brushing up against some topics that will be heavy sometimes and occasionally explicit, and often include swearing. Viewer discretion is advised. And with that out of the way, please refresh your drink, get comfortable, and let's move on from the task of ground laying to the topic of foundations. Magic Foundations. Medusa, a new Magic the Gathering set just came out. Do you care?
I care more than Outlaws of Thunder Junction or Murders at Karlov Manor.
Markov.
and I care a whole lot less than I think Bloomborough or Duskmorn. So I'm like right in the middle. There are some things about Foundations that are fun for me. I'm a big fan of those fracture foils personally.
The fracture foils are cool. What does that mean? Would you say your care is about a 7?
I mean, I think everyone's care is about a 7.
Everyone's care is about a 7.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. I think I like Foundations. I don't play Standard, but I like the idea of there being a set that is just going to be there as a foundation, wink wink, for the next 5 years of the format to build off of. I think that's a cool idea. I'm excited to watch what the Standard players do with it. I probably won't be playing Standard. I always think I'm going to do it, but I don't even have enough disposable income to fill out my Commander decks with real cards, let alone buy play sets of expensive lands.
Yeah, I actually started with Standard, funny enough, and I don't really see myself returning to it at this point, but I think it is cool that they've moved on from kind of having a lot of samey core sets year after year, where a lot of the same cards were just getting reprinted anyway, or the same role players for Standard, to not having a core set at all, which I don't know how people feel about that. I'm not really.
I feel like it was the worst decision.
Yeah, I'm not in touch with the pulse of the Standard player meta, but in my eyes, not a great plan. I do like the idea of just having one set, because I think it prevents a lot of that kind of sameness. And like, as somebody who played Standard back when like core sets came out, there'd be like maybe 1 or 2 cool cards. I mean, the Titan cycle, when that, what was that, M11 I think released, was like awesome, but you know, eventually it just became, oh, there's Sun Titan again.
I was thinking how many printings of Fire Elemental do we need?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I've played standard a couple of times. I don't think that I'm going to find, really more than the money is. I don't think I'm going to find time to like go to events. I don't have a local game store that's closer than 45 minutes away, and that's not exactly conducive to regularly playing in Friday Night Magics when you have other life things that are going on. But I am a filthy commander player, and I will strip all of the pieces out to put into my 99 that I find interesting. I'm excited that there's new Giganotosaurus. That's the real dinosaur. Gigantosaurus. Sorry.
What everyone thinks it is.
Yeah, right. What 4-year-olds pronounce Giganotosaurus as. I like that there's new Gigantosaurus art. I like that it's got a weird like predator lip flap thing going on. And I like that Quake Strider Ceratops exists because now there are 2 gigantic mono-green vanilla dinosaurs to put into Blue and Owen. I just think they're neat.
Yeah, I like that they went with a herbivore for one of them at least.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they made a really cool herbivore instead of just another theropod. Like, don't get me wrong, T-Rex is my favorite, is my baby. I love him. But herbivores need more love in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Also, as far as that Gigantosaurus art goes, the Isle Called, it wants its split lower jawed, weird lip flapped Giganotosaurus back.
I think I've seen this. I've not actually, maybe I need to turn in my dinosaur card. I've not actually played the Isle. I don't know very much about it.
Me either, but I know that there are like big mutant dinosaurs, and the one that's a Giga is like has like a basically the same. I don't think it has the frill. It's not like that dripped out, but it's got the like splitting jaw.
Hold on. Let's look at this. Google, what do you have to tell me? This looks like a very normal Giganotosaurus. Oh no, I found it.
It's hyperendocrine, I believe.
Yeah, wow, I think somebody was inspired by their favorite dinosaur game. And I'm okay with that, because that...
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, no, I'll flash a picture of this up on the screen on the YouTube version of this. That's cool. I want to know the context of this creature, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Pretty much the same as like Indominus Rex, I think. Just like genetic mutants.
Okay.
I think the hyperendocrine is supposed to be like indicating that they like the endocrine hormones were like too much, and so they just grew really big, and also somehow like just got monumentally more fucked up somehow.
Yeah, gosh, I'm going to derail us already. So a friend of mine, I've not done any research into like a source on this, but you know how for a while one of the topics circulating the discussion of dinosaurs and their representation like visibly was dinosaurs were probably fatter than traditionally depicted in paleo art, and they probably had weird biology that would not have been fossilized that we cannot predict.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine shared... Caveat, I don't have a source for this. I already said that. And I don't know where to start looking for one. I'm going to do so after this podcast. But this is allegedly from the DMs of another paleo friend, a current, real, seriously taken theory on anatomy for Brachiosaurus.
Oh, yup. I've seen this one.
It's a big old snoot.
Yup, it's because I guess if you stare at a sauropod skull long enough and compare it to an elephant skull, the like nasal passages look similar. I think that theory is debunked, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
Because this is nightmare fuel.
Yeah, basically you would expect to see like a lot of like muscle anchorings on like the bone, I think is what people who kind of naysay this theory say, is that they're not there. But I haven't looked too far into it, except that it is extremely cursed.
Yeah.
For people who are listening instead of watching the YouTube, it is sauropods with trunks. That's all I'm gonna say.
You can Google that at your own discretion.
It's like long Furby meets Alf. That's a
I
sauropod.
hate that description. Okay, Magic Foundations. I love the treatment they gave to Giganotosaurus. Nope, I did it again. And Quake Striderceratops existing. I love the Saurian symbiote exists and spined Tyrannex exist because I can think of different places, different decks that I could put those in. Every dinosaur that comes out that creates a token is one more dinosaur that makes my Life Finds a Way build around more possible. And Spined Tyrannex is just a cool dude who gives trample counters. And I already mentioned Blue and Owen. It's another way to distribute counters, keyword counters to dinosaurs in that deck. What I don't love, and I'm looking directly into your eyes, Wizards of the Coast design team, what I don't love is how you hate Tetsamok, Nezahal, and Zetalpa. Why? Why only for Itali and Gulta to have new cards with different abilities and new arts that depict them by different artists? Why not the other three? Why not the Esper dinosaurs? They deserve it!
They do. I mean, I get your argument for Tetsamok and Nezahal, but like, come on. I think they put Zetalpa in every single Commander precon that includes white. Like, they like him.
He's in the
they
set!
just think the art. Yeah, they just, you know what? They were like, you can't fix what ain't broke. I mean, look at him.
It's good art. It is good art.
He is
but Atali and Gulta's first iterations were good too. Nezahal and Tetsamox are good. Nezahal is prime Philosophophobia fuel for me. And like the coins arts are whatever. I like them. They're fine. But that's all we have for Nezahal. And I think that one was a secret lair.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but Nezahal is definitely, that would be on my wish list for cards to get really, really cool new art for sure. She is probably my favorite out of that cycle. As far as the Talpa goes, I think they just know that they're not going to beat 1-800 Are You Flappin', so like, why even try?
Yeah, and they can't, I guess they can't exactly print a Zetalpa unless it was like unset Zetalpa with shutter shades.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's the altar. Somebody made an altar that was that.
Yeah,
that was
maybe a
Zetalpa with
secret
shutter
lair.
shades. Maybe. Get on that. I'm going to steal Empress Quinn's line. I want new Esper dinosaur arts on my desk by next week.
I'll see what I can do with my limited gainsay at WotC and limited artistic talents of my own.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, they may not be dinosaurs, but I think probably the two cards that I would say really made an impact on me from Foundations are large, scaly, and have many, many teeth. First off, if any of you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen me posting about Twin Flame Tyrant, like some sort of celebrity crush. I love this thing. I love that it has a fracture foil that is like straight up a Duel Masters card. And it came at the time, I think this thing got previewed, like literally when I was on my big Duel Masters hyperfixation, Wizards of the Coast, Universes Beyond, Duel Masters. By the way, adding that to the episode script right now. We'll get to that later, all caps. Yeah, so, you know, seeing that come out, seeing it have that, like, Duel Masters, I don't know, even, like, Cardfight Vanguard style art with, like, Japanese showcase, absolutely eat that up. Also, really cool effect, damage doubler on a creature that is not Obosh, where it is kind of evens and odds restricted is really cool to have. It's a big flying dragon. It's a 5-mana dragon. Historically, I love 5-mana dragons. Yeah, not much else.
5-mana dragons are usually really high quality. I think Skargan Hellkite is one that comes to mind, which is honestly a fairly mid dragon, all things considered.
Skargan
I think
Hellkite.
it's really cool though.
I think Skargan Hellkite is so cool, and I think that more people should put him in decks.
And what's the Thundermaw Hellkite? That's
Thundermaw
another one that comes to
Hellkite.
mind.
Thundermaw Hellkite I played in Standard. That
Mm-hmm.
card is very good, especially when a lot of decks are running Lingering Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thundermaw Hellkite. I mean, I don't know. I'd even play if I played. I don't have a dragon deck. I've been thinking about making a dragon deck for a long time. I guess I technically had a dragon deck for a short amount of time. It was in the wake of having a Miriam deck, playing it 3 times exactly, and realizing this is too powerful. I don't need this in my arsenal.
Yeah.
And I realized I wanted to play Rith and Miriam next to each other. New Rith, the one that when excess damage you create 4/4 flying tokens. But I realized too that nobody was going to okay Miriam plus Rith in the Cabanza and partners with. That's not going to be a thing.
I mean,
so
some
I
people
threw
won't
them.
okay Miriam.
Yeah. So I threw them both inside the 99 of Omnath, Locus of 4 colors. I don't remember which one that is. Creation, maybe?
Something like that. The one that was
and
really
I did-
good at Modern.
Yeah. And then I did lands, dragons, and it did the 4-color thing where when you have access to 80% of the cards in Magic the Gathering, you can just pick the best ones.
Yeah.
And so it was a good 4-color deck with dragons.
Good 4-color decks with dragons.
And I lost interest in it fairly quickly.
That's fair.
What was I? I was talking about if I played a dragon deck. Oh, I would probably play Thundermaw Hellkite because Thundermaw Hellkite does really well. One thing that I talk about with Commander when building decks, I try to beat into people's heads like you need to deal with flying creatures. The format's called Elder Dragon Highlander. You need a way to handle big creatures that fly. And I guess Thundermaw doesn't. Does Thundermaw prevent blocking? Is that its big thing? It does 1 damage and then it prevents blocking?
It taps.
It taps, okay.
So it ensures that it is the only aerial creature. I believe it only does your opponent's creatures, however.
Yes, it does not shut down your flying creatures.
So it does kind of clear the way for... Honestly, it probably deals more with your opponents having answers to your flying creatures in way of their own flying creatures.
This is the meta answer to a responsible meta where like player A presents flying threats, player B presents answers to flying threats, and player C adapts.
Yep. Also, it reminds me a lot, and I think this is intentionally if I'm remembering when these two things came out, of the really, really big dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, the first one.
That's where I thought you were going with that. Yeah, the head does feel very reminiscent.
Yeah, and speaking of 2013 or around that time, Progenitus is in this set.
Oh god, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it got like the anime treatment, and I think that we can all admit that Progenitus is really cool, but also kind of bad.
I think for being, I don't know, it's hard for me to say that Progenitus is bad, truly, because it's a 10/10 for 10 with protection from everything. That's the kind of effect that you want to see on a 10/10 for 10 mana, or at least a creature for 10 mana in general. That's the kind of effect that I want to see on a 10 mana creature.
That's fair. I guess it just doesn't really I feel like when you're in 5-color, as you were saying with 4-color as well, you run into this thing of, I can learn the best cards in Magic. I'm just going to assemble random value engines and just grind people out. Like, what purpose does, this 10/10 for 10 protection from everything really have?
If I were going to build a Progenitus deck, I would build an X-Blue deck and just play a control deck that's, has all of the most efficient 2 and 3 color control pieces and use Progenitus as my 7 mana mono blue control finisher.
So, interesting that you should say that.
Oh.
Because there is another card in this set That is he 7 mana? I believe he's 7
Oh,
mana.
yeah, yep, he is.
So where I was actually straight up going with this was so Coma World Eater is a simic creature that seems to have a lot of people a little. It feels like Voja flashbacks. The way that a lot of people are talking about this card. This card is just progenitus for like the modern era. Honestly, I think it's got a little bit less protection, but it comes with like so much more value, and it has like this spell can't be countered, and it has trample, yeah, and it's making those like coma tokens, and it's got 12 toughness for some reason, and we love that. So like honestly, I've been kind of like thinking about making this a deck and basically doing exactly what you were saying of taking all the good like blue green and like simic multicolor like answers and value pieces and like basically just blue green control, and then just running this guy as my Pearl Lake Ancient or whatever, what have you. I like that because of his combat damage trigger. You can kind of like just go after someone with an 8/8 and then make like 4/3/3s and kind of spread the love around a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I like him.
I do too. I like. So they left the mana cost exactly the same, which is very funny to me for the stat differential. Because I think original Coma is a 7/7. Is that correct?
I believe 7/7. Let me fact
He
check
makes
this real quick.
he makes the
Is a
same
6/6.
number of 6/6, so even smaller. He makes the same number of snakes per rotation in a commander game. I think it probably feels worse for the one-on-one players because he makes the same number of snakes that he did before in a commander game, except in one turn. Commander players, you get the benefit of like it's only one snake per turn, where if you get slapped by the 8/12, now there's 3 snakes. The way I've been thinking about this Coma is that the first Coma, they put the emphasis on the blue in his color identity, and it feels like this one they put the emphasis on the green. All the extra mana value went straight to his ass.
Right. I mean, the way that I'm looking at it is that, so this is kind of a hot take because I think original Coma does a lot as a Magic card. It's got a lot of cool things to it. Obviously it's this big control, it's sitting there, it can make this army, it's like giving you a lot of options, it's protecting itself, it can tap things, turn off activated abilities, create, 3/3s. I think that new Tacoma is actually more interesting just for the purpose of it actually gives you less options and makes the 99 of your deck do the heavy lifting. Because I think that Coma Cosmos Serpent is just most of your control when you're running a deck with him at the helm. And so I think your 99 ends up looking very generic good stuff. Whereas I think if you're running this Coma, you want to think about like, ooh, like I want to, probably like get him through like more often. So like ways to like throwing him maybe a little bit more removal than you would with this, the first Coma. Maybe throwing in like more like token doublers, just because I think doublers, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't put in token doublers with this guy because he does make 4. But I just think that like there's a little bit more room for your 99 to be a little bit more interesting because your commander does less, if that makes any amount of sense.
I think it makes sense. I think I agree about like the token doublers being kind of iffy on that because I think that token doubling matters more in Cosmos Serpent just because the snakes are a resource for something besides delivering combat damage because they're sack outlets to Coma's control effects. But how much extra help does an 8/12 with trample need to get hits? Because it's just a combat damage trigger, right? He doesn't have to do... He has trample,
Yeah.
He has trample, and an 8/8 is really big.
It
Like, we
is.
talk about how things get out of hand in Commander in the late game, especially as power creep continues and the good spells get cheaper. Um, that said, 8 power is a lot. Most
Yeah.
people don't want to throw 8 power worth of creatures in front of a snake just to prevent more snakes from entering the battlefield. Because they're not going to kill it, because it's a 12 toughness
Right.
creature.
Yeah, you're basically never killing this thing unless they're like so far behind that it doesn't matter anyway. I think you want to throw like every single boot in this deck. Because like obviously like Simic doesn't have a lot of like just cheap and easy ways outside of boots to like give haste. And I think giving haste is pretty important.
Crashing Drawbridge, which I say is a
Yeah.
joke. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine card.
I think it's, throw it in. Um, yeah, I think that might also just be a personal preference. I think I tend to like commanders that do a little less so that my 99 can do a little bit more. Um, and speaking of that, one of my favorite commanders currently, Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, is very much a kind of he does a little less so that the 99 can do a little more. And one card that I'm very excited to throw in the 99 of Valgavoth is Scrawling Crawler, which is like, that's it. That's the deck. Gives my opponents cards, damages them whenever they draw cards. Like, it's a Nekusar. Howling Mine meets Underworld Dreams. That's the deck. Perfect.
Yeah,
No doubts.
I like the alt art on Scrawling Crawler, the full art, quite a lot. I like his weird long limbs.
Yeah. I like that the actual like the set art though is a virus.
Oh
I
wow, it
think that was clever.
is. That's smart. I
I
didn't
think
even
that's like
realize
super
that.
clever.
It's an
Um,
intellectual virus.
yeah.
I dig that. Okay, well, those are some thoughts on foundations. What do you got going on in the shop? What are you working on?
What am I working on? Well, speaking of commanders that do a little less, so your 99 can do a little more. I have been, and I mean, I feel like I just like leave half finished deck lists in your Discord inbox, like a cat leaving dead animals at someone's doorstep. I mean, like going back to like talking about dragons, like how many mono red dragons lists have I just sent you and been like, this is the one, and then you never hear about them again.
Yep. I still
And
read them. Oh,
and
good. Another dragon with Gatling guns. I
oh
wouldn't.
yes, Morna, my beloved. And so a common theme for me has been recently, as you know, and I think I've vented a little bit about my frustrations with it on either the bad site or the better site. Shroom the Hedgeman was my first commander. I have had that deck in some form or another for 15 years, and it just has not, for the last probably like 3 to 5, has just not sparked joy. It was a pretty basic Shroom list. We had the Sculpting Seal combo, and there was kind of just blue-white control, Esper control from there. So recently, I was taking it into the shop, and I think we went about a million different directions with it. And I would message you at like random times throughout the day and be like, "Oh my god, I have it! This is the angle. We're gonna make Sharum living weapon. We're gonna make Sharum Core Skyfisher. We're gonna make Sharum God Pharaoh's Gift Secret Commander." And that one actually kind of stuck. And so yeah,
What are we doing
recently.
tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to finish this Sharon list.
So I finally finished it, and I've played with it, and it's really good, or at least as good as a deck that is unironically running the card Sphinx Sovereign can be. Um, and where I ended up landing was basically just kind of I mean, it's not like really doing anything new or groundbreaking. It's basically an artifact good stuff deck with some control elements. And like some toolbox elements. I've got Spellseeker in there, which is really cool because you can find Dance of the Manse to kind of like living end all of my random mana rocks, or can find Dam for just like Wrath of God or Cyclonic Rift. So that's pretty cool. But like generally the deck is just like amass artifact value. At some point, turn your artifacts that aren't creatures into 4/4s and swing with them. Sharum is just there for more value. And as someone who has been casting my wife, she is my wife of 15 years, primarily, oh, it's time. I cast Sharum. Do you have a counterspell? No, I win the game. Woo. Getting to cast Charm 3 times in one game recently to reanimate a Noxious Gearhulk, and then reanimate a Baleful Strix, and then reanimate a Platinum Angel was pretty cool.
I was there for both of those occurrences.
Yeah. You were not there for when she reanimated a Filigree Angel with 21 artifacts on the field.
No, but you told me about it.
I did.
Disgusting.
I did.
And that's the
Filigree
exact
Angel,
thing you wanted to do.
It was the exact thing that I wanted to do. Marina Vendrill's Grimoire is in there. That was kind of the card that ended up like tying all the rest of the card choices together a little bit more. So like I do kind of consider that deck Secret Commander, God Pharaoh's Gift, and Grimoire. Because you gotta get those Lich cards in. God Pharaoh's Gift isn't really a Lich card, but it has similar aura to me.
I get that. It does very much have the same kind of feeling of inevitability, bastardization of resources, value over time.
Wait, what do you mean Threefold Thunderhulk is coming back with 3 counters and base power and toughness 4/4? 7 gnomes.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That and Mirror Battlesphere. That's been my primary project. I have a few others, but I think we've both been messing around with some Grixis things, and I'm gonna let you go first on that.
Yeah, I've been messing with Croesus, the Purger. I think that's his epitaph.
It is.
I have liked Croesus for a long time, just because I've liked his art for a long time. I think he's a really cool and weird-looking dragon, and we need more weird-looking dragons that aren't just.
Cut. This is such a deep cut. He reminds me of a dragon from the game Guild Wars 2.
Oh my god! I think I know what you're talking about.
There's like this dragon. I think it was like when that game was coming out, and like there was a preview of it or like a PAX demo or something, and they were showing off this like, oh my god, like you can, it's like WoW, but you can have these big like world boss fights with like anyone in the area or something like that. And it was like this big dragon that like comes out of the sea and looks a lot like that Croesus art. Which, I always like it when Magic takes inspiration from video games. Not necessarily saying that that's where the inspiration comes from, but it is very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you've been building Nicol Bolas that we have at home.
Yeah. I like Nicol Bolas the Ravager a lot. He is one of my favorite cards. I had a Nicol Bolas the Ravager Proliferate deck for a long time and eventually got bored with it. I'm coming back to Grixis because I've realized that I'm very stuck in green or white. They are my comfort colors. I build decks with at least one of those two because they involve my favorite things to do in Magic most of the time. And a lot of my techniques to avoid fast mana, which I despise using fast mana so much, and I like mana rocks. How do I sentence this? I don't hate mana rocks, but if I can avoid mana dorks and mana rocks, I do so. Most of my ramp comes in the form of abusing lands and playing effects that do massive mana spikes like Old Gnawbone or Ancient Copper Dragon or Frontier Siege or something like that. But Grixis avoids those two comfort colors of mine. And means that I have to think about deck building in a different way than I have been for the last few years. And I think that's fun. My focus has been on, taking the Surveil standard deck from when that part of Ravnica, when Disinformation Campaign was standard, whenever that was at the same time as...
I loved playing some of that in Arena.
Search for Azcanta, Thought Erasure, Curve Out with Nicol Bolas, that deck. I liked that deck a lot. I played it a lot. And just kind of trying to turn that into a commander deck in some way. Because there's a lot more surveil than there used to be in the game, which is cool. I'm glad that that mechanic has become evergreen and is just showing up more and more.
Yeah.
I really want to play Surveil. I really just want to play a bunch of interact with the graveyard mechanics in a way that layer on top of each other. So I have a list of all the things that I'm trying to weave together. On the inspiration list is Connive, Delirium, Descend, Escape, Explore, Gather Evidence, and Surveil. Gather Evidence and Surveil are highlighted for me. I think that Gather Evidence is a really cool mechanic that did not get nearly enough time or attention.
I hope we get more of it in the future. Especially since, like you mentioned, we got a lot more Surveil, and a lot of those cards that like specifically reference Surveil are like so much better now.
I think Connive is really cool. It's one of my favorite mechanics. I want more of that. Descend is just kind of like... It's just a mechanic that you play because it's good in a deck that cares about dumping stuff into your graveyard, because the mechanic is just when a thing goes to your graveyard. I like that there's some weird cards randomly in commander decks that have escape. There's a reanimator spell that I don't remember the name of from the D&D set that has like some kind of tentacle eye monster on it that looks like a stalagmite or a stalactite. I don't remember which one it is, and I don't remember the name of the monster. But I used to know what it was because it is just a D&D monster.
Is it the goad one, like the monstrosity goad thing?
Is it? I don't think so. Hold on. Let's just... Crixus is not comfy. That's the name of the deck list. There it is. From the Catacombs. 5 mana, put a creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield with a corpse counter on it. You take the initiative. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it. So finality counter before finality counters, I think.
Okay.
And it has escape. The sorcery has escape for 5 mana and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. So it's a sorcery, a black sorcery with escape that just reanimates. And I think that's neat. I might be wrong about that statement. I don't know when the first time finality counters were printed. I don't think that it was before. Is this Battle for Baldur's Gate, Commander? I think it is.
It was definitely before that.
Was it?
I want to say that the first card, and I could be completely wrong here, I want to say the first card that had a finality counter on it was Isareth the Awakener from, like, Core 2019?
Is that what she does?
I thought so.
Corpse? Oh, she does corpse counters.
She does corpse counters, but they're basically the same thing.
Right. More finality counter on it has a more universal use case than a corpse counter.
It's like gold tokens into treasure tokens.
Leaves a lot more room for flexibility with what classifies as treasure. Okay, so that deck, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to squeeze down all of these different mechanics into a cohesive list of approximately 63 cards and then some lands. And I'll probably have it done in 2 weeks because that's just how long it takes me to get through a deck that I really catch the bug on wanting to make it work. I go through like 4 or 5 different iterations in a week, make a lot of lists. I make a lot of written lists when I'm deck building. And I really want to play Conspiracy Unraveler, which is the Sphinx that's like collect evidence 10, you get omniscience.
That is a big stinky card I like.
Or it's not omniscience, it's just instead of paying the casting cost of a spell, you can collect evidence 10. And then Incinerator of the Guilty, which I think is just a cool big stinky dragon that board wipes.
We love those. We love cool big stinky dragons. Is it better than Balefire Dragon? No.
Probably not, no.
But it is cool.
It is cool.
It is just chasing after a guy. Honestly, I feel like it has like, if you look at the art, it has like a saddle on its back, and I feel like maybe the guy that's running away from it is the guy who was riding it, and he like fell off it, and it was like, wait a minute, you are made of food.
You are made of food. I like that. I like that a lot more than the idea
Yeah.
that this one dragon has been chasing this one man through the streets of Ravnica for any extended amount of time.
It's like the in Ravnica, it's like when the like GTA like crime, like meter gets too
When the
high,
tanks start showing up.
they send in the Hellkites.
Right. Instead of mainline battle tanks, you get
This
actual
guy.
red dragons.
Yeah.
And then before moving on from this deck, I do want to hit real quick one card. I don't think that I didn't like Murders at Markov Asterix Manor for plenty of reasons. And I feel like most of us have already addressed how forgettable the set was. And we're starting to migrate into that place where people are actually looking back at the set and realizing, what is this card?
Oh yeah.
Drag the Canal is one of them for me.
Every card that you mentioned.
Every card that I mentioned.
Drag the Canal, Conspiracy Unraveler, Incinerator of the Guilty.
You're right. Drag the Canal is a blue-black instant, just 2 mana, from Murders. It does a lot. So, as some setup, the way that I think about mana and spells normally is that it seems that the design dictates that 1 mana equals 1 of something. 1 damage, 1 power, 1 card draw, 1 surveil or scry. However, the spell is templated, 1 mana equals 1 of a thing as a default, and the further you get above that curve, the better the card is. So Drag the Canal, I would expect to, I don't know, the spell says create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. 2 mana, instant speed, create a 2/2. That's not the worst spell in the world. But that's one of 4 things that this card does. You also, if a creature died this turn, get to gain 2 life, and surveil 2, and investigate. So for 2 mana, if you jumped through that tiny hoop of killing a creature in a black deck, you get to make a dude, make a clue, gain 2 life, and surveil. That's so much.
This may be Sharam playable.
I believe it.
Just looking at it. Although I don't have many ways to like kill creatures, but I feel like, I don't know, I throw my little trinket mages in front of people because they're just going to come back with like God Pharaoh's Gift anyway.
And it's instant speed. It says when a creature died, not your creature. And
Play
creatures
it after a board wipe.
die to stiff breezes in Commander.
Oh, absolutely. I think this card is very good, and it is possible that Murders at Karlov
You did
Manor,
it?
is like, that might just be like New Capenna Commander round 2, where
It might be.
the set as a whole is like very, I don't know. I feel like I can't really like, even if we go to like New Capenna Commander, I feel like I can't really picture what any of those commander decks do. But then just every card that comes out of it just seems like they were just in the lab cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cephalid Face Taker, what is that?
What's my favorite? It's a red one. Industrial Advancement? Is that what it is?
I don't even know what that one does.
Oh, okay. Industrial Advancement. Let's see if that's actually what the card is called. Industrial. It is.
Sure is.
4 mana red enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you sack a creature. If you do, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the mana value of that creature, and then put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom.
Wild.
So it's like it's like an impulse birthing pod type of thing.
Who knew that this thing existed? Because I didn't.
I like it a lot. I keep trying to build a Jund birthing pod deck with like all of the versions of that effect. Birthing pod, Eldritch Evolution, Industrial Advancement, Luca, and both of the Vivians that have birthing pod type effects. But I just can't find something else to anchor the deck design outside of that. Like, if you're birthing podding, then that means you need to have a chain of creatures that you care about, and I just
Right.
can't find an identity of creatures that I care about doing that with that sticks with me.
Makes sense. Yeah, I can see that being hard. Maybe if there were more creatures like Mitotic Slime. Or Reform. I think like the opposite of New Capenna Commander is probably my Grixis Commander, which is Sauron, the Lord of the Rings. Because I think that those decks and that set are like very heavily picked over, and people generally know that they're good. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it still surprises you. Like this, I won this deck as part of a giveaway, um, which was amazing. Um, Shout out to Steel City, Steph, and Brad.
Hi, Steph.
Um,
Hi, Brad.
and yeah, I got this deck. I was pretty sure that I was either like tearing it apart or like just modifying it into the nasty like Sauron Dark Lord. And then I like looked at it. I had it like physically in my hands. And like every card in that deck is every card in that deck is Lord of the Rings and has art from
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, do I don't want to put I don't like want to put a Grave Titan in here. Like I don't want to change I don't want to put an Archon of Cruelty in here. That's not a Nazgul. Uh so I have just kind of retooled this deck to be Wraiths and Orcs, and that's pretty much it. It's just Wraiths and Orcs. So 9 Nazgul, obviously. Plus, like, I think like, all of the better Witch King variants. I tore out all the Saruman stuff. He's a traitor. We don't fuck with him. Um, and yeah, I've got this. I was gonna still change the commander actually to Sauron the Dark Lord, but then I played the unmodified precon um, on a non-streamed spell table game and kind of fell in love with it and kind of fell in love with casting this 8 mana commander that does less than you would expect for an 8 mana commander, but is kind of just a 9/9 with trample. And his name is Sauron, Lord of the Rings, and like roll credits. That's the guy.
It's him. It's
That's him.
John Ring.
Yeah, it's the guy on the book. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I think like as a deck, I'm pretty happy with that one. I haven't actually got it all in paper just yet. I'm still kind of trying to source, like, I want all the different arts for the Nazgul, and that gets a little expensive. And, like, I want all these, like, random Lord of the Rings cards that, like, no one, like, no one really wants. Like, Gorbag of Minas Morgul. I saw this card, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect for the deck. Because he's just whenever a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. You may sacrifice it. When you do choose one, draw a card, create a treasure token.
That's that
Um,
little 2 mana guy, right?
yeah, he's just 2 mana. He's pretty. You can sack him if he does damage too. Like he's pretty good with armies.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Grishnak, Brash Instigator. No one knows what this card does.
I certainly don't.
He is a 1/1 legendary creature goblin soldier for 3 mana. When he enters, amass orcs 2. And when you do, until end of turn, you get to threaten, or I don't know, what is the non-boomer version of threaten nowadays?
I don't
You
know.
get to steal, you
I
get to
call
like
it threaten.
yeah, you get to steal a creature and give it haste and take nab it until the end of turn. Any non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Not a bad reanimator target for Sauron, actually, because you amass 5 with Sauron, and that happens before you return the creature. So, yeah. And then like the wraiths, there's like a kind of little ring tempts you theme. So I think like this deck it's what I would call like very bespoke. Like not necessarily the most powerful, but like I don't know. I got to cast Sauron and then tap out for the Balrog of Moria. And I think I played like a Siege Gang commander in the Balrog of Moria and just like tossed a goblin at someone's life total and then just like swung with this 8/8 trample haste. Like, you're delving too greedily and too deep out here. Oh my god, wait, I stole Empress Quinn's Sun Titan with a too
You
greedily,
did.
too deep. That was I don't think we have time to get into all that, but that was some narrative payoff.
I'm glad that there are, I don't know, just quick thing. I remember seeing the first Balrog and it being the one in like the dual deck and being deeply disappointed. I'm
Hmm.
glad that there were two genuinely good Balrogs that followed after him. I like them both quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Balrog of Moria, which is the one that comes in this deck. Like an 8/8 for 7 trample haste. Like those are limited bomb stats. Like we fuck with it. Like we were saying before, an 8 power creature is big. Like
Uh-huh.
it's giant. And this thing comes out with haste too, so it's generally hitting a turn before like your opponent's 8 power creatures. And then if
And
they
when you
kill it,
can,
like
if they kill it.
yeah, if they kill it, when it dies, you
Oh
just
yeah, it takes something with it.
yeah, it takes for each opponent, it takes a creature with it, up to one target creature that player
So
controls.
people don't want to block it.
Yeah,
Like even more so
or point removal
than,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty, and you can cycle it.
I think the other one can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. I think it's a 7/5 that has to be
Ooh,
blocked by legendary creatures. Is that correct?
that's pretty flavorful.
And it has like the Dargo when you sacrifice stuff, it gets cheaper.
I know that the
Balrog,
one
Durin's Bane. Can't be blocked except by legendary creatures, and when it dies, destroy an artifact or creature an opponent controls. So it does the same thing. When it dies, not on the same scale, but when it dies,
Yeah.
it takes something else out with it.
I think I like the precon commander precon one a little bit more, but like this one's very solid. I feel like this one could be good for everyone who is disappointed by Corvold 2.0, to be honest. Like I feel like this card is doing a lot of that like cost one less to cast for like, is like really rewarding you for sacrificing your own stuff. Big body. Again with the haste. I love that they're giving the Balrog haste. Balrog is actually not one of the Lord of the Rings creatures that I would think would be very hasty. He like takes his time making an
He
entrance.
does take his time.
Uh I feel like the Balrog is a big fan of some good timing. Good dramatic timing.
I don't know, can the Balrog speak? I don't know if that's established or not.
It's, I could we're not a Lord of the Rings podcast. We're not a
All right,
Tolkien.
all
I
right.
could make us a Tolkien podcast. We're going to be talking about more Lord of the Rings stuff later. Don't worry. And then yeah, I guess to wrap it up, because actually the Balrog, to wrap it up for like my deck building right now, a lot of what I'm doing aside from Sharam and fixing up this precon is looking to 2025, where I have set the goal that I will make a Mardu deck because I used to be, I guess like I don't know, literally like very, very minorly internet famous for being a Mardu Pyromancer player, and Mardu was like a huge part of my color identity and identity in Magic, so it feels weird I don't have a Mardu commander. Uh, I think the Balrog of Moria is probably going in the deck that I think at least is the current front runner for a Mardu deck for me, which is Kroxa and Kunaros cycling, which I'm sure you will either never hear about again or we'll talk about it more when I actually build it.
One of the two. I don't have a whole lot else to say, but I am working on not. Croesus is taking a lot of my attention, but I am, when I get burnt out on need to like put the pencil down, I'm too deep in. I've been looking at Blue and Owen because I have been redoing the deck to be a little less good dinosaurs matter and a little more like big stompy dinosaurs matter. And I know that there's a lot of overlap there, but I'm trying to veer away. Like I'm trying to find room for Ancient Brontodon in the deck as an example, because nobody ever gives Ancient Brontodon any love. It's just an 8 mana 9/9.
Yeah. Does that have
with no
trample?
keywords.
Oh,
No.
no keywords. Okay.
It's a vanilla 9/9.
But we're giving
just
it
like
keywords.
we're giving it keywords. That's the hope. What I really want to transform Blue and Owen into is a deck that gives gigantic vanilla or French vanilla creatures more combat viability. Gigantosaurus, the Ceratops, aforementioned, Ancient Brontodon. I just want to make a silly, biggest, stompiest deck. We don't need Vaultborn Tyrant in every single one of our dinosaur decks. It's a very good Magic the Gathering card, but when I play it, I win games.
Oh, yes, you have cast that card against me a non-zero number of times, and it is always a massive pain in the ass to deal with.
God, it's so cool. If you kill it, no, you didn't, and then you can populate it. But that's for the aforementioned dinosaur token deck that we're trying to make, because I do really want to just populate the Vaultborn Tyrant token. That sounds
disgusting.
Like a good time for me, exactly.
For exactly you and no one else.
Yep.
I'll have a good time if I'm spectating the game.
Okay.
I mean,
keep that in mind.
I mean, at the point where you're doing that, let's be honest, the other players may as well just be spectating.
That's true.
They're not,
it is kind of a initiate solitaire mode.
They're not playing Magic the Gathering anymore. They are in fact watching Walking with Dinosaurs as presented by Lyght.
I am excited that they're remaking that, or at least sequeling that. But we can move on to our next segment.
Walking with dinosaurs, more like getting walked all over by dinosaurs.
You didn't deserve a laugh for that. It was involuntary.
That's the most deserved of laughs.
All right, gamers, we're going to move on to a little mini game to break things up. Welcome to Freak Cast Kill. You may have played a very similar game in the past, but for those who would like the rules, Medusa and I are going to take turns presenting one another with 3 monstrous creatures from Magic the Gathering. The other will be tasked with nominating one of them that we would get our freak on, so to speak. One which we would cast, and one which we would kill. No one but the audience and one another may judge us for our choices.
No one but, that's everyone.
While we will state that this is just for fun, all freaks assume full consent, sentience, and anatomical synergy.
In this case, does going first mean presenting you with monsters, or picking from the monstrous gallery?
I think I was imagining the former, presenting options.
Okay. Let me think about this. I mean, I feel like one of them has to be Vaultborn Tyrant, and I feel like it'd be really funny to just say Vaultborn Tyrant and then also the Vaultborn Tyrant token that it makes, and then also the Vaultborn Tyrant token that it populates. Like, there you go.
Don't have much choice in the matter, do you?
No. Alright, fine. Let's do Vaultborn Tyrants. I mean, I feel like I just have to throw a Sun Titan in there. Mm-hmm. And let's go with, let's go with my, favorite old stompy monster. That was a card that was a boomer, elder boomer card, even back when I was new to Magic. Spirit of the Night.
Spirit of the Night? What? Hold on. Do I know this card?
It's what a chroma is a reference to.
Chat.
Light. Chat. You didn't know that a chroma is a reference. A chroma, Angel of Wrath, is a reference to a much older Magic card called Spirit of the Night.
Okay.
He's got a Nautilus for an eye.
I think this one feels a little easier. I think Freak with Sun Titan, he's got very big, very strong arms.
I'm shocked you didn't say the dinosaur.
I would cast Vaultborn Tyrant, because I'd be a fool not to. And I think I would kill Spirit of the Night, who was potentially my other choice for Freak. I think that's my answer.
Well, you will not be killing him with any black spells.
That's true. I could have terminated the Sun Titan. All right, my turn. I have two pre-made listed out.
Oh, no.
So here you go. Here's your first one.
All right.
Vorinclex, Urabrask, and Jin-Gitaxias.
I like that you made it hard for me because you chose all but the two Praetors that I actually would. I mean, I am demisexual, so I feel like I have to go with I feel like I have to give it to I'm trying to think. Well, Demi isn't sapien. Yeah, I feel like I have to give the Freak Urabrask. I feel like he's probably, you know, he's a little different. He's a little, you know, he's a little fiery, a little hot. But then he's like a very, you know, I think that I want a monster partner that really respects consent. And I feel like Urabrask, you know, like the whole consensual phyresis thing is like so funny, but also like I love it so much. So I love Urabrask. Cast. Are we talking about just any of them? Like any?
I think any of them is fair.
All right. Because I'm thinking, like, I could cast Vorinclex Voice of Hunger, but then I don't have friends.
I cast Vorinclex Voice of Hunger all the time, and I've somehow maintained friendships.
You cast it against me on a charity stream, which feels very uncharitable of you.
Look, those events are supposed to be Phyrexian themed. You're supposed to cast the Praetors.
Fair.
Where else am I going to get away with casting Vorinclex Voice of Hunger if not for charity?
All right, kill Vorinclex, obviously.
Oh no!
Just murder him. Turn him into a boat, which apparently
turn him into a boat.
Yeah, apparently that was his idea of like grand evolution anyway, was becoming
boats.
Which like he didn't go far enough because he was boat is like one step removed from crab, so like he needed to go one step further. So kill Vorinclex, which I guess means cast Jin-Gitaxias, which drawing a lot of cards is pretty on theme for me. I think that's my final answer.
All right, we accept this answer. Poor Vorinclex.
All right, this one, I'm so sorry because I think that this is basically going to be the same choice for you 3 times.
Sure.
But it's, you know, something that I really like. Actually, as we're talking and sitting here and podcasting, Elise is right next to me. Do you know about Elise?
I do know about Elise, the League of Legends character.
Well, my giant
different Elise.
hamster-sized spider named Elise.
Oh, that one. Yes, I did know about the actual pet Elise.
Yep. So anyway, your lineup is Shelob, Ishkana, and Thantos.
I hate spiders so much.
You have to get it on with one of them.
I do.
Imagine
That's true.
8 legs.
7.
I'm not finishing that, but if you know the webcomic, I love you.
Freak. Thantis. Kill Shelob. Cast Ishkana. Final answer.
I approve.
I think Ishkana has a cast trigger, right?
Ishkana has a delirium trigger. I believe it's eat.
Oh, she's an enter. Look at her go. Okay. Ugh, spiders. Okay. I think we'll do one more, do 2 and 2, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
Yep, sounds good.
Garruk's Harbinger, Alpha Deathclaw, and Iron Mirror.
Oh god, Garruk's Harbinger. Is this the like Garruk's Uprising on a creature? No, what is this thing? Oh, this is completely different from what I was thinking of. This is a Rancor turtle. What, hexproof from black? Alright, kill this thing, because I know I said Spirit of the Night, but like it's different if it's a green creature with hexproof from black as opposed to like a black creature with protection from black. I don't know, it's different. Don't at me.
Favoritism over here.
Also, I don't know. It looks like a Kappa, and I don't really like Kappas very much, or like Koopas, which are based on Kappas. I'm not a
You
huge
know,
fan
I
of
hadn't
either.
connected that it does kind of look like a
It does
monstrous
look like,
Koopa, and
yeah, it
now
does
it
kind of look like a
absolutely does.
Koopa. Like a like not Bowser Koopa, but like a prehistoric Koopa. Some sort
Hmm.
of primordial elder Koopa. Yeah, so anyway, kill this thing. What were the other two?
Alpha Deathclaw and Iron Mirror.
Alpha Deathclaw. Oh, well, I mean, I'm windmill slamming this thing every time. I love monstrosity. Deathclaws are really cool, and menace and trample is a good set of keywords. So
When you
I
say
guess I'm
windmill slamming it,
I mean I'm casting it. I'm
okay,
casting I'm tapping mana.
you're tapping it.
I'm tapping the Iron Mirror.
All
Um
right, I'll alert Hen.
yeah, I was gonna say like that's
Smoochable
not
robot.
yeah, that's for Hen to vicariously experience. That's not for me. That one's not for me.
Okay, this one goes out to Hen. I write
Yeah,
robots.
yeah. This one, yeah.
Smooch your local robot. Do it for Hen.
Robots. Gotta be one of my favorite genders.
Okay, well that was fun. Final segment. I like that this is labeled your UB now. That's my attack. This is a reference to Undertale. I just wanted to acknowledge it because I think I'm funny. Universe Beyond elicits a variety of opinions across Magic players, both in tone and intensity. Neither of us would claim to have one note takes on the current implementation of Universes Beyond products. I'm sure we'll talk about that more soon. But at least in part, both Medusa and myself take a page from the Heroes Blade Vibe Check book. More game pieces keep getting made for one of my favorite games, and that is exciting. With that said, and trying to keep on theme, Medusa, are there any monsters from fictional media that you would want to see come to the face of a Magic card through Universes Beyond?
So I want you to just like imagine like the Benny Hill theme or just a list of like a really fast list just scrolls across the screen. But we'll keep this like to the highlights. I mean the Xenomorph. We have Tyranids, we have Slivers. But I think we need some more spiky bug boys. I love Xenomorphs. I love Alien. The Alien franchise is like probably my favorite and maybe only favorite horror franchise. I'm not actually that big of a horror movie watcher. Um, so like yeah, obviously I would love Xenomorphs and all their various casts. Other than that, I really like the Stormlight Archives, which are a book series by Brandon Sanderson, and all of the creatures, or at least many of the creatures in the world of those books are crab-like and shelled because they have very, very temperamental weather. And it is better to have shells to protect from like flying debris, to add weight so you don't just like fly off, to be able to like kind of hunker down. And there are two that I think would be like fan favorites in kind of the same way of like, oh, it's like a little guy, like Fibblethip, for example. Um, I was gonna say or Loot, but I think people are really mixed on Loot. And I kind of don't get it. He's like Gnar. He's like Digimon mixed with Gnar. I love him. I love orange. I love tiny little orange fluffy creatures. Um, Actually, now that I said that, I really want to see the like Loot as Garfield.
Loot as Garfield.
Little
Who
orange fluffy creature.
who would be the John? Would it just be Jace or would it be someone
I think
else?
it'd just be Jace.
Okay.
That'd be okay.
It would be kind of funny. I
Yeah.
would read a Loot and Jace Garfield
I'm a
esque
mind
comic.
mage, Garfield. Well, would you mind grabbing me that plate of lasagna? Anyway, back on topic. Stormlight Archives. Wow. So the dogs are crabs. They're called axe hounds, and they're dogs, but like hard, like without fur. and also part crab, which like sounds like dogs but awful, but like trust me, they're
It
really
kind of does
cute.
sound like dogs, but awful.
But they're really cute and good. And also chulls, which are literally just like, so there are a lot of like very creative implementations of like this idea of like
Crab.
everything is chitinous. Chulls are just giant hermit crabs that are used to as like pack mules. And like I think it's adorable because like crab, like the little stocky like crab eyes are like so cute, and like hermit crabs are so round with their like round little claws. Um, so I think that like there is big potential in like a Stormlight Archives universes beyond for like there to be like a very fan favorite like oh like it's so cute type like creature card between like one of those two types of creatures. Um, there's also chasm fiends, which are massive like giant centipede dragons, which I would
Ooh.
love, but I think would be generally frowned upon.
Centipede dragons, generally frowned upon.
And yeah, turning it back into a Tolkien podcast, give me Glaurung. Give me the father of dragons. Tales of Middle-earth Part 2, The Silmarillion. If Amazon couldn't acquire the rights, I don't think that WotC is going to, unfortunately,
Probably
but
not.
I am going to hold out hope that we will get Glaurung, Father of Dragons, that we will get Encalagon the Black, who is like the largest, meanest, beefiest dragon. Just like Mega Karthus on steroids, I think is what that card needs to be. Like Karthus, but he turns everything into a dragon, takes it, and is like a 16/16. Um,
What is the mana cost on this Super Karthus?
oh, I don't know. It's like 2024, probably like 10 with like a cycling things that he can be reanimated.
Okay.
Like 10 mana, 16/16, basic swamp cycling. I don't know. They'll,
Basic swamp cycling.
yeah. Godzilla is an actual Universes Beyond set.
Please, this, yes. I want a real set for
I don't
Godzilla
want to
cards.
play. I don't want to play Ghidorah slash Aluna Apex of Wishes. I want to play King Ghidorah. Give it, wizards. Give it to me.
Is there a certain realm of Godzilla or canon of Godzilla that you want the set to be based around, or do you want it to be smorgasbord like the Final Fantasy one is going to be?
I think it would make most sense to set it in like King of the Monsters because I feel like you could, or sorry, the like Legendary Pictures Godzilla because I feel like you could draw from like Skull Island. Like there's just a lot to draw from that's kind of tonally similar as opposed to like if you get into there's like all these different eras of Godzilla um, that are like very tonally different in a lot of ways. But I know like the -1 director is making new Godzilla movies, so like
Yeah, he
maybe,
is. I'm
maybe,
so excited that
maybe
there's
we
going to
get
be another
Rodan,
one.
maybe we get Mothra, maybe we get Mecha Godzilla.
I wonder if he'll even like include other monsters in it, or if it'll just be another solo Godzilla movie.
Yeah. I feel like they set up a lot of things that I could see turning into classic Godzilla monsters. I think it'd be really cool if the like love interest character who was like very clearly set up to be, spoiler alert by the way, very clearly set up to be like kind of infected with Godzilla's cells at the end, like mutated into Biolante or something really similar.
I was
Just like
thinking something
giant
like that.
plant
Yeah,
Godzilla or like Hedorah, like giant like
a modern
smaller.
Hedorah would be really good.
Oh,
I think.
modern Hedorah would fuck severely.
I vouch on the I second the idea of the Legendary Pictures MonsterVerse, the MonsterVerse series being focused on though, because that would mean that I would get a pink Godzilla
Yeah,
on a
I would
card,
love I would
and
love some pink Godzillas, some evolving like there needs to be like a cycle of like evolving Godzillas that like evolve into each other.
which I mean Shin Godzilla could also do that,
Yeah.
but I don't like Shin Godzilla as much as I like pink evolved Godzilla because I don't know. I like the heavy Godzilla movies for different reasons than I like the stupid, this is a wrestling movie
Yeah. And
Godzillas.
like the stupid this is a wrestling movie Godzillas are the ones that are gonna translate really well into Commander, which is
Yeah.
basically Magic the Gathering professional wrestling. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh but I mean, speaking about evolving Godzillas, like, you know what card game has like a decent evolution mechanic like built into it?
Is it
Uh
Duel Masters?
it's Duel Masters. Yeah. Anyway, that was my whole segue there. Dragons with Gatling guns. Give it to me now. Dragons with Gatling guns and laser cannons and just straight up like regular cannons and machine guns and like just dragons with guns. Like please. Yesterday on my desk, 2 weeks. Morna Gatling dragon.
You heard it here first. More dragons with guns.
My probably most controversial, hear me out. Not actually because she's a dragon, but because she's also incredibly racist.
That's why she's the questionable.
Yeah, she's in like
Okay.
the Duel Masters reboot show, and she's like the sister of like the main like he's like a giant like Snapdax kind of looking guy, but he's like basically Pikachu. And she's always like, like you dishonor our entire family by being like half like beast person instead of dragon.
Gotcha. I get it. It's like if somebody says that their "hear me out" is cooler. Like I get it, but also
Dragon.
massive racist, horrible person. I would have
Massive,
said
yeah.
Frieza, but like I don't think that if somebody said "hear me out" about Frieza, that I would actually. I don't think I would support them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Massive racist dragon with Gatling guns feels like a hear me out that probably won't see widespread adoption.
Probably not. I may be judging you.
But like, I don't know what those talons do though.
What those talents do, though. Oh boy.
She is
Moving on.
She is literally strapped, Light.
No.
Two of them.
Okay.
Rotating.
Two of them.
Okay. And there I think we hit the
The hinges are squeaking in protest. Okay.
All right, what do you want? What monsters
I
do you
want. I've replays a Bunny Hill theme. However, if I were to choose one, I want the Monster Hunter verse. I want
Fuck yeah.
Anjanath. I want a fire-breathing T-Rex. I want just like a 6/6 trampler that has the mechanic fire-breathing on it. I want Rathians that fly and have poison counter mechanics. I want Zinogre to place charge counters on himself when he attacks, and then when he untaps to transfer them into stun counters on opponent's creatures. And I want the creatures to do something with crafting, and I can't think of any way to do this that mechanically makes easy sense. The first line I tried to chase was like, what if when they died they left crafting components on the battlefield?
Mm-hmm.
Like how Icing Death, when it dies, it leaves a sword on the battlefield.
Yeah.
But like, you can't use the craft mechanic because if you have the creatures transform, then they can't craft because they can't transform because the other
Right.
side is a creature. And they can't, you can't make tokens that craft because the tokens have to
Right.
exile to activate craft. But I want something along those lines. If they ever do a Monsters
I get
Hunter
you.
UB set, I really want to make, they have to, right? But I want to know, it's just that I want to know what
If
it
they-
looks like. I want to play with it. I want there to be some kind of mechanic that reflects the crafting system, and I want the monsters to factor into that.
If they do a Monster Hunter UB, I absolutely require a card that is just a piece of meat on a spit that interacts with time counters.
Oh, okay.
Because the cooking jingle from like the PSP Monster Hunter game is like stuck in my head permanently for
Yeah.
life.
The food system in Monster Hunter Wilds is really awesome.
We will definitely be talking more about Wilds. My soon-to-be ex-roommate's boyfriend was like coming over and like helping her move stuff out this weekend, and just like turned to me and was like, "Do you have any interest in Monster Hunter?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of it, but like I really like the monsters and like it's cool." And I'm like, "Are you trying to get me to play Monster Hunter Wilds?" And he's like, Yeah, I think that like Kara, my roommate, would really like it because she likes the Soulsborne games, and but those aren't really as multiplayer friendly. So I think that like I'm getting dragged into playing Monster Hunter Wilds from numerous sources because I know you had already asked me about it as well.
I know that Cole will be playing as well, and I think he's dragging Quinn along.
I mean, any chance I get to game with Empress Quinn, like I'm happy. I'm a happy gamer. Yeah, so that will definitely be something that we will continue to talk about. I think they can probably just transform into artifacts, like
Yeah,
like various things. Like I think we can.
If they
I
die,
think we
like
don't
they
have to
turn
get as
into an equipment.
crunchy. Yeah, I think we don't have to get as crunchy with like the, you know.
Yeah, the crafting process is just the creature transforming, and you don't have to like jump through an extra hoop. That makes sense.
Yeah. What is your favorite Monster Hunter monster?
What is my favorite Monster Hunter monster? I think it's Anjanath. I think it's Anjanath Slam Dunk. I love a fire-breathing T-Rex. That's just, I'm easy to get.
The nose, I like the nose, like the nose sacks. I love those. The wings lose me.
Yeah, you don't like the
wings kind of lose me. Yeah, I get what they're going for, but like, I don't know. By all laws of like thermodynamics, Anjanath should not be able to fly. The Anjanath goes, "Fuck you, I'm angry," and fly. I guess glides, but
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't really fly.
Anyway. What do you think my favorite Monster Hunter monster is? No, we're just so fucking off topic.
Is it?
I'll give you a hint. I think it would have ninjutsu.
Nargacuga?
Yep.
That was easy. If it wasn't that, it was going to be... What's the snake? What's the paralyzing snake guy?
I kind of know which one you're talking about, but like I can't even...
He's like a cobra cat.
Yeah,
he's like
I know which
cat-like body, but he's got a cobra head. It starts with a G. I'm looking it up right now. But that was going to be my second guess.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, like, aside from Nargacuga, I guess even Nargacuga to some extent, most of like my favorite Monster Hunter monsters are what I would classify as having very like original like 151 Pokemon energy. So like I really like the Great Jaggy. I think I like Great Roggy a lot actually. The like Venom one. I really like Rathios and Rathian. And I really like wow, that just went entirely out of my head. The pickle.
Oh, Devil Joe.
Devil Joe. Yep.
I like Devil Joe.
Which I feel like are all like pretty like very surprisingly grounded choices. Nargacuga though.
Great Gyros or Gyros. I'm not sure what it is the name of the cat snake thing. I think Kushala Daora is my other favorite. I just like how archetypically dragon he is.
Ooh, is that the metal? Is that like the metal elder dragon?
Yeah, it's the metal
elder dragon. The one who like
dragon.
sheds. Ooh, what would he do? Just leave treasures around?
I feel like he would just have indestructible, because the whole thing is that his scales are the durability of steel, or is steel. I don't know which it is.
I remember seeing one of like, because he's been around a while, right?
It's one of the originals.
Yeah, I remember seeing like one of the old like the ecology videos, which I love. I used to binge even when I didn't play Monster Hunter. I found those in like some corner of YouTube and would just like watch all of them because like Spec Evo, dinosaur obsessed, bug obsessed lady, Spec Evo, fit into my jam. But I remember it was like him molting out of like his scales, and it's like making all the like metal noises as he's like bending them and stuff. It's very cool.
Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I feel like that was a podcast.
I mean, we're going to call it a podcast and probably put it in places where podcasts are sold. So I think we're FDA certified as a podcast.
Are we FDA certified? Do we have to worry about what's the word? Audits? Do we have to worry about audits?
I don't think so, unless we play too much copyrighted material.
All right. Well, I guess we'll try to avoid doing that. This has been the first episode of GasLyght, GateCrash, GirlBite. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in to listen. We look forward to bringing you more podcasts in the near future. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.